Okay, well, we can start. Thanks for joining us today and taking time out of your busy schedules to come and learn about Dynamo for Revit and what you could be using it for. My name is Victoria Adams. I'm an AEC sales consultant at Pentagon Solutions. I will be hosting today along with John McNally, who's also part of our AEC consultant team, but on the technical side of things. Okay, so before we get stuck into Dynamo, I'd like to quickly run through a little bit about Pentagon Solutions for those who may not know. We started in 2002. So we've been going 18 years strong. We have 3 locations, Belfast, Cork and London, with our main office being situated in Belfast. John and I are also located here. We're fully equipped with training facilities in our offices, operating, of course, across the whole of UK and Ireland. We have 4 directors, Eamon Morgan, who's our commercial director, with David Gawley, Brendan Green and Chris McVicker on the technical side. So we're a technology company who drives the adoption of technology software throughout the UK and Ireland, partnering with our clients to ensure they're getting the most out of their software through training and consultancy. I just thought I'd share a little bit more about some of the other solutions we can provide and what sort of things we're currently helping customers with on a day-to-day basis. Firstly, starting with Autodesk, as that's the reason we're here today. So we're an Autodesk Gold partner and reseller of Autodesk technologies. We've been driving the adoption of these technologies for many years now, mainly in the AEC and MFG industry. We do also hold an ATC status, meaning that we are fully authorised and certified by Autodesk to carry out training in these technologies. Anyone who has trained with us will receive an Autodesk certification. And moving on to BIM then, we actually have a dedicated BIM department filled with expert knowledge in Pentagon Solutions. We were early adopters of BIM, starting off in around 2007. And now we're a leading provider of BIM implementation and consultancy services in the UK and Ireland. We train, consult and advise our clients whilst also adhering to BIM standards on any BIM project that we're involved in and our own BIM projects. Going hand in hand in that then, we're also BSI associate consultants helping our clients through their digital journey in achieving BSI accreditation. Pentagon Solutions is also in partnership with other technology actually, such as a Accruent and Maintenance Connector. You can see their logos on the screen. This makes us proficient in asset lifecycle information management systems and computerized maintenance management systems. We do also offer other solutions for the likes of mobile serving and inspections through a cloud-based application called KaiCloud. The last solution I'd like to mention is Pentagon Construction Intelligence. This is one of our latest technologies and was created by ourselves through really listening to our customers and their demands. It basically takes project data and measures quality, productivity and risk for our clients in the construction industry. And of course, for all of the solutions just discussed, we do offer Pentagon support. Support is something that's very important to us. As with any technology that we provide, we do want to ensure you always have the support you need to go with it. We can deliver this through an online fresh service portal, over the phone, via email, and of course on site. Support does go beyond obviously just technical queries. We also support our clients through training, consultancy and project support. If anyone would like to hear any more about the solutions that we do provide or some of the ones we discussed there, or if you need any assistance with any of the projects that you're working on at the minute, don't hesitate to get in touch as we don't just provide software. So just quickly, today's agenda, just what we'll go through basically, what is Dynamo, what it's used for and its benefits. Usually, of course, we would visit our clients on site and deliver physical demos, but obviously with the current climate, we have moved to delivering things remotely. But please do get in touch if you're interested in Dynamo and would like a more bespoke demo to your company. We will also have a short Q&A at the end of the session, so if you do have any questions throughout, please feel free to post them in the comments section, and if we have enough time, we'll try and answer them live or we'll follow up with you anyway with a phone call or email. And I'll pass you over to John McNally, who's going to kick things off then.
Great, thank you very much, Victoria. So again, good morning everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today. So my name's John. I'm going to be running you through a bit about Dynamo, what it is, what it's about, kind of the future of it, where it's going, and of course how it can benefit you guys in your business and in your projects going forward. So I'm going to kind of start off with the basics. What is Dynamo? We're going to run through some examples and we'll kind of run on from there. say any questions you have on this, please feel free to post them in the comments and I'll try to answer as many as we can. So what is Dynamo? At a very basic level, Dynamo is a visual programming tool. Now, a lot of the times I mention programming, people automatically switch off and run the opposite direction. I'm just going to put it out there now that I do not come from a programming background. I don't know any programming languages. So this is aimed at everyone. I've learned this from the visual programming that is available through Dynamo. Personally, it's one of my favorite tools in the AEC collection. What it does, so whenever you're using Dynamo, it utilizes the API for Revit and other applications, the likes of Civil and that sort of thing as well. Some of you might be familiar with Format. Basically, the API is the application programming interface that runs in the background of all your software. It's where it reads and writes different bits and pieces too. We can basically take that, manipulate it, and make it do what we want to do through Dynamo. And other software as well, the likes of Excel, you're going to see that come into this as well. So very useful, very powerful tool. So rather than typing a lot of code in a language to say that you may not know yourself, Dynamo uses visually represented elements, which are known as nodes. We'll see examples of them as we go through the examples today. But I say again, you don't need to know any programming language for this. Beyond that, what kind of happens is that you create an algorithm. And again, this is another word that I throw out there and people tend to run the opposite direction. And I'm just going to show you an example of how you use algorithms pretty much every single day. Something very similar to this. So the kind of base level, you have your ingredients, fairly straightforward. Next, you follow a recipe. Again, straightforward, everyone's done this. And you end up with an output. You get your breakfast, you get your lunch, you get your dinner. You end up getting a meal out of it from using ingredients, following a method, and getting an output. Say input through the method, and then we get the desired output at the end. So keep that in mind going forward. That's kind of what Dynamo is based on, how easy it is to kind of allow us to manipulate what we need to manipulate. So some kind of simple kind of explanation as to how it kind of works. It goes in computational design, which is a lot simpler than what it sounds. So we take, for example, A equals 4, and B equals 1. Put that together, you get A minus B, and that gives you a different output, which is then C. What that looks like in our terms is 4 minus 1 equals 3. It's as simple as that. We're kind of using that to generate our outputs. The kind of best thing about Dynamo is that it's not just numbers and text. We can do this with geometry as well. So if we replace the numbers with geometry, we get A as a cube, B can be a sphere. And if we take A away from B, we get something that looks like this. Like, you've all kind of probably done this in software in some form or another. In Revit, you can subtract geometry. Other software, it's known as what could be a Boolean difference. So there's a lot of different aspects you can take into this and a lot of different outputs you can acquire from it. So just bear that in mind going forward whenever we're going through the examples. So scripting. If you kind of gave me Dynamo and told me that this is what I had to do, it would put me off as well. It's not kind of something we want to do. I say, I don't know languages. You don't need to know the languages to run Dynamo. It does run off Python if anyone is interested in knowing that. So that if you know that, you might be a bit more benefit to you as well. But what this produces is kind of something along these lines. It gives you shape, it gives you lines, it gives you points, so all different surfaces. But again, we don't want to have to type that out. It's not what we're here and what we're about today. So to give an example of what it looks like from a Dynamo perspective, visual programming, we're taking our two kind of inputs and creating a function similar to what we've just seen. It's our methodology, it's our algorithm. And what it looks like in a Dynamo graph, yes, it looks a bit like a kind of spaghetti junction going on there, but we're not scripting anything. We're taking predefined visual elements, connecting them together, literally connecting dots together to produce an output, which in this case is the geometry from the previous slide. So we can see what's going on in the background, but it's a lot easier for us to visualize that than it is to actually type it out. So that's how this kind of runs and goes forward. So examples of what it can do. some kind of simple examples. It can automate repetitive tasks, and bear that in mind. So anything that you're doing on your daily, like every day, kind of daily basis on your different projects, if there's something that is repetitive and needs done, that is the best case scenario for Dynamo. So it can renumber sheets, it can flip your grid heads, it can add revisions to multiple sheets, all different bits and pieces in there at kind of a simple level. Beyond that, we can start accessing our building data, the likes of all the parameters. As much as we can take them out, we can push them back in as well. So that is a possibility. We can actually use the explore design options. Once we kind of have our basic inputs, we can change them. Again, that is a manual process. It will take time, but we can start to automate that and actually automate design options, which if you're trying to generate a mass amount of them, it can take a long time. We can now do it in minutes. And further again, we can then take it into analysis and have a look at surface analysis, add color to it, see how much sunlight's going to be on a certain surface. All different types of analysis can come into play here. Can I use it? Can you use it? Simple answer is yes, everyone can. At a very kind of beginner entry level, it is quite easy to pick up. Once we kind of run through the basics of it and you understand the principles of it, then your only limit then is your imagination. Very, very powerful tool and a lot you can get out of it. So out of the box, what do you get? This is an example of a screenshot from your Dynamo player, which if you have an IC connection, it comes part of Revit. It is installed with Revit. You've probably seen it in your Manage tab. What comes out of the box will vary slightly year to year. 2021 has a few extra ones than what the likes of 18 will. So one of these out of the box examples I'm going to show you today will be the add levels to select a level. So it's something that everyone does. They have to add levels into their projects. So that's going to be the first example we'll look at. So we're going to take just our template. As a lot of you guys will know, your Revit template will come with two default levels, level 0 and level 1. Some of you may use different templates. That's fine. It still applies. So level 1, level 0. Say we're going to work on a tower block, an apartment block. It's got 30 levels, if not more. We can either manually draw those out using our level tool, put in the height it needs to be, all that sort of stuff, and do that over and over until we have however many levels we need to have. What we're going to do using the Dynamo player is we're going to edit the inputs for the selected script that we want to run. So it looks like this. It's going to ask you how many levels you want to create. In this case, I'm just going to do 10. So you can see here, it's giving you that option. Then it's asking you to select a level. So I'm going to select a level within my template, my level 1. Then I'm going to select the distance above that I want each of those levels to be. So I just, for an example, took typical residential room height. Obviously, it can be whatever you need it to be. And whenever we hit run, this is the output. We've now got 10 levels above our selected level. We can see each of the dimensions in place for them. And you can see that it highlights in the script that it's not given each of those levels an element ID. Depending on what you're doing within Revit, you might not see element IDs too often, but it is there and Dynamo does use them quite a lot. So it is useful to see that, and it means we can then apply it to other scripts down the line as well. So that's an out of the box example of what comes with Revit. Like all of you guys who have Revit and Dynamo installed will have access to this script. So this is a script I was working on recently myself. I'm assuming a lot of you guys out there will have a drawn register for your projects, and it will vary slightly between the projects. So it does take a bit of time to manually type this out. I'm going to run an example of a video of this script running. I haven't sped it up. I haven't changed anything on it. I want you to see it in real time and how quickly it can work and how much time it will save you in your projects as well. So this is a video, just you can see in the side there, there's no sheets in this. So I'm going to open up my Dynamo player where I have put in my custom script. I'm going to point it to the Excel, the drawn register itself. Again, all in real time, nothing's been sped up here. So open up, pointed this to the correct file. I need to make sure my string is the actual text file, and then need to apply a title block that I want the sheets to have. So once I hit run, it automatically opens up the correct sheet for me. I can see at the bottom there, in the bottom left, the workbook itself is sheet list. That matches up to the string. So that is important, that is case sensitive. So what's happening in the background here is that we have our drawn number and drawn title. And In this Excel, there are the guts of 400 different sheets, which will take a lot of time to manually type out, as I'm sure you're aware, especially if you're kind of using the bin naming convention. You've got your 7 different fields in there, and you need to make sure that they're right for every single one. We've got something that exists. There's no point in us typing that out again, so we can automate that across all our projects in kind of one go. Very, very powerful tool, and saves us time that way as well. So this should be just about finished and just about to create our sheets for us. Again, it will take longer depending on how many sheets you actually have, but it's definitely a lot quicker than manually pushing them out. So there we go. You can see on the left-hand side in our project browser that we now have the 400 sheets created. And again, this was in real time. Nobody's had to type it out. It's been there. They're all the relevant sheets of all the title blocks, and we can now add our views on as necessary. So to give you an idea of the time sort of saved in this, and I've been generous with this one just to kind of keep the numbers a bit even. So if we kind of average that it takes us 3 minutes per sheet to actually manually create them, and we multiply that by 400 sheets, you're looking at around 20 hours worth of work, which is a lot of time out of someone's day just to go and do this. The cost behind that, on average, you're looking at about £300. That alone is enough to pay for Dynamo as a standalone product for the year. If you're applying this to your AEC collection, which it comes with, if you're applying it to every single project that you need to do, and again, that was just one task. So if you're doing this multiple times, if you're using the levels to create that in your projects as well, that is a big saving across the year, you know, so it's very beneficial to get behind this and use it within your business. Where it kind of got pushed into is then Project Refinery. So this is a bit more design orientated. When I say design orientated, I mean design across all kind of aspects of design. So architecture, structure, even goes into infrastructure if you needed to. So some examples, we have Spatial Truss study, where you can see different design options and different results by using a few different inputs. Now, this is a large graph, don't get me wrong. So it's a slightly more advanced example, but it'll go through and show you what it can do, what the outputs will be, the results that you'll get from it. So it basically designs your structural truss for you, and you can change what you want to change in terms of the platform size, the types of truss you want to use. If you want to minimize the material, it can do that for you in the background. So I'm not going to hang about in this video too long for you, just to kind of want to just give an idea of what this is capable of doing. You can visualize the structure, and once you do have different visualizations of the structure and run the graph, if you change the outputs, you can get a new output in terms of visualization as well. So Refinery creates a study. It is online, and it will generate the different options in Autodesk server, so it's not too heavy on your machines as well. So Dynamo will show it in the background, but these are the different inputs and outputs that we can apply to it. So material, information, the platform area, we can minimize or maximize that, or just completely ignore it if we need to. So it'll run through. We can actually decide how many generations of design we want to see. And it will stick out a graph for us that will allow us to see what the best features of each of these design iterations are. So you can see the different options along the bottom there. We can select any of those, or we can actually select them from the graph as well. So bear in mind, this is all running from a Dynamo script. This is kind of plugged into another online feature, which is then being taken a step further, which I'm going to show you next as well. So I'll let this run a wee second just so that you see the graph, what's happening with it. You can see the different selections that highlight between the graph and the images themselves. Or we can just put it in a list and we see all the different design iterations. A lot of the ones that people use this for would be material score. They want to keep material amount low just to keep costs low, as you know you would. But again, you can pick and average that out across all the different options here. So different designs, different options. Again, now we can visualize that in Dynamo. And because we can visualize it in Dynamo, we can actually then push that back into Revit. Or say, it doesn't have to be Revit. This works with Formit, it works with Civil. There's different options in there to get different outputs. So we'll jump forward into another one. So this is kind of slightly more analytical in terms of what Dynamo can do as well. So I'm not going to hang about in this one too long. Basically what this can do, it takes a graph, uses the same sort of options. We change our inputs to get different outputs. We can change our panel size. We can change our grids. The reason for this, we want to see the surface area and kind of maybe sunlight hidden that for our heating and cooling loads. All that is analysis that we can then plug back into Revit and then, make design decisions very early on where it doesn't cost as much. Whereas if this got decided, we decide we need to change everything, that's a big cost for everyone involved. And we don't want to be getting into that. So beyond the kind of project Refinery, where we got to is then generative design. Now, this is now available in Revit 2021. It's now installed with it for any of you guys on the subscription. What I've done here is create 4 walls, a floor, put a couple of windows in, a door, and I'm going to run the generative design workspace layout study. A lot of you guys might find this really useful in terms of the whole COVID-19 pandemic, where we might consider coming back to the office, but we need to space out our desks at a certain distance, obviously 2 meters. We can then put those options into this and it will generate design options for us. So all I'm doing here is selecting the room. I then need to go ahead and select the desk as well. So we select the room, select the desk. We can then decide whether we want average distance to be kind of maximized or minimized to the exit, visual options to windows to be maximized, and the number of desks to be maximized. So again, this is something I haven't edited this video. I've kept it at real-time speed. I've wanted 10 design options from this at least. So that's what it's going to generate for me. So I say it's kind of, a lot of people find a lot more use for this in terms of coming back to the office and that sort of thing as well. But the reason I've put it in this webinar today, this all runs off the back of Dynamo. This is where you can put together your scripts and then now start to use generative design for your designs. Doesn't have to be a layout. It can be the overall shape of the building if need be. It can be your site layout. It can be your mass models, your structural design. A lot of them go in there. So we can see under a minute, we've got a couple of options in there. Once I hover over them, you'll see kind of what is the best option for them. So there's a few more coming through. I'm going to start hovering over, see what ones I want to use. I want to maximize my views to outside for kind of productivity reasons as well. So select the one I want, create the Revit elements. It is then going to go ahead and place all of those desks in the room for me in that layout to maximize our views to the windows. Again, we can maximize that with distance between desks, all coming from Dynamo. This is all nodes in the background with no scripting knowledge, just visual input. Very, very powerful tool and a lot of options that we can get out of this. So you can see there, that's what it looks like in 2D in our plan view. And in 3D, the elements are there, all of our information is attached. We can schedule out what we need to schedule out. Continue on modeling as we need to. So that's a bit about kind of simple examples from what you can see in Revit, where it's going and what we end up getting at the end. So I'm going to pass you back over to Victoria here just to kind of close up and tell you a bit more about the kind of training and all for it as well. So
thanks, John. Thank you. That was very informative. There's a lot to squeeze in there in a half-an-hour webinar, but hopefully it was beneficial for everyone who came and watched today. So I'd just like to close off with some key takeaways. The main one being something that might take 20 hours to do in Revit can be done in minutes in Dynamo, as we saw. With that being said, don't be afraid to get in touch and ask for a hand. Pick up the phone or drop us an email, whether it's for help with delivering a project, Revit modeling, Dynamo scripting, software training, pricing for software, just a general query. Please do get in touch. For those that are interested in getting stuck in, we also have a one-day Dynamo online course coming up. Next one there is the 18th of August. It's a $250 for the day, excluding VAT. I think it's John, you're taking it,
yep.
I believe as well. It'd be geared towards Revit users who are going through repetitive tasks that can be automated to be more efficient, saving time and money, which can also be a massive benefit for winning tenders if you're bidding for tenders. I will also follow up with everyone and send you through the course outline for that, and you can let me know if you're interested or even interested in something more bespoke. Just before we finish up, I would like to, I think we have a couple minutes to open up the floor to some Q&As. So if you'd like to post them in the comments section, we'll be happy to answer a couple there. Let's see, we'll just have a wee look. So I can see one in there just for, do we write scripts? Yes, we do. So John's actually working on some at the minute. So John, would you like to elaborate and share a wee bit about what you've been doing?
Yeah, like pretty much. So some of the services we offer are, if you have scripts and maybe you're working on a new project and it stopped working, like we come in, have a look at it and try reconfigure it to get it to work for you. We can build them from scratch if need be to suit your business kind of specifically, you know. Entirely up to, depending on what the output is needed, you know. So we do offer that service. We write them, reconfigure them, all the above, pretty much. So, yep, that's no problem at all.
Okay, brilliant. I don't see anything else coming through there, but we will touch base with you again, and do get in touch. Our email addresses and stuff are just on the previous slide. And we'll follow up. Thank you very much for attending.
Just one last question before we go here. Is Dynamo included in the AC? Yes, it is. Dynamo Studio is more of a kind of detached version from the software. So it's more of a sandbox version where you can go in and put a couple of scripts together. But if you have it as part of your AC, it comes actually installed with your Revit. So it'll already be there if you have Revit installed from the AC. It will also come now plugged into the likes of Civil and Format. So yes, it will be there as part of that. So.
Okay, brilliant. Is there anything else there just before we close off?
No problem at all.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for attending. Do get in touch if you have any other questions that come to mind.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Have a good day.